77 WABC and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center honor the life of legendary broadcaster and our friend, Ernie Anastas.
Hi, it's Ernie Anastas. You know, your thoughts can affect how you feel. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in New Jersey, providing comprehensive, equitable, compassionate, and high-quality emergency inpatient and outpatient medical care, plus mental health services and substance use disorder treatment. The Bergen Newbridge team can address your total health needs in one convenient location. Call 201-225-7130 for an appointment or newbridgehealth.org.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Dave Scott has spent his career studying UFOs, extraterrestrial news, metaphysics, everything that you and I actually care about. He has spent his career waiting for the UFO files from the United States government to be admitted that they exist and then that they have been released. What seems to be missed here, Dave Scott, is that they buried the lead. The lead is the files have been released, meaning the government acknowledges they exist. They have never acknowledged that. Forget what's in them. The United States government, until this moment, never even acknowledged that there were UFO files, that there were visitations, that there were thousands of sightings that the U.S. government could not explain. It's one of the great mysteries of our time, and then it's one of the great mysteries that they won't even admit that it exists. Now the great mystery is it's been released, it's been admitted, and completely ignored by major media. Thank God we're here, Dave Scott.
Well, thank you for having me, Walter, and it's always a pleasure to join you. And I agree with you on that. You know, I think the dump of the UFO files, there's 161 files that can be found on the website called war.gov/UFO. And everybody can go
Say
out
that
there.
again. Say that again.
War for Secretary of War, war.gov/UFO. That's the website that anybody can go to and check it on out. And in fact, through the weekend, they did a statistic that on Friday when the numbers came out, the website had been hit 500 million times.
Whoa.
500 million times.
Whoa.
And I can say that I hit it 4 times.
At least. Now, but to me, before we talk about what's in those files, I just can't get over that this isn't the lead story on every newscast, radio, TV, the lead on any newsy website, the homepage, top story. I'm like, what? What other story have you got? Oh, gee, trouble with the boats in the Straits of Hormuz? Who cares?
Well, I think there's a lot of journalists and news editors out there who still don't want to play in the UFO world. They don't think it's news, as strange as that sounds. And this is a story where the government is releasing their files. And you know, there's a big difference between what the public sees and what the UFO crowd sees. The UFO crowd is a little bit offended by these files, the majority of them, because it didn't release Roswell. They didn't have President Trump coming out and say, we are not alone in the universe. So they're not really calling this a disclosure, but more of a soft confirmation that the United States has these files, and we are expecting more to drop this week. A lot of people in the UFO world feel that the videos just were not of any good quality. Basically, it was like filming dust particles, you know, flying through the air. How can we tell the difference between a dust particle or a satellite flying in the sky way up that you or I could see with our naked eyes? And what they're alleging are UFOs or UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomena. It is a great disappointment with the videos in the UFO world. But that being said, the majority of the public is not in the UFO world. And I think Fox News, Newsmax, and News Nation have done a great job, especially News Nation, which your friend and mine, Ross Coulthart, is a part of. And he does almost like a daily UFO report for them with his incredible insight. So I think the message is getting out there, but it's not getting out there the way it probably should. You know, you're right. This should be front page news on every major news paper across the United States. It should be the lead story in local and state television news runs. I mean, this is big news on the front. We're getting into a technology and an era that we're not used to, that could make us very uncomfortable, not just for the United States, but for humanity right across this globe. And you notice I didn't say flat Earth there. I said globe. And thank you. And I think that, you know, this story is being downplayed. So I think they're still waiting for President Trump to come out in front of the White House, in front of a microphone to say, my fellow Americans, we are not alone in the universe. We have crash retrievals. We have alien bodies, which is highly suspected. Everything that had been built up leading up to this point of the release of the files really wasn't mentioned. We don't know about Roswell. Crash retrievals were mentioned quite heavily. So were the fact that alien bodies. You interviewed Matt Gaetz, who basically said that there are hybridization programs going on with live aliens and human beings that have been kidnapped from third world and war-torn countries. You got that interview, and yet nothing. Where were these reports?
I believe that those reports about the alien-human hybrids will come out. I believe that the tranches are going to come out in ever-increasing proof. But I believe that a lot of the reason for the delay, and the delay still, is because of something that was in the reports today. And what it is it said, we also have released the information that Japan has gathered, France has gathered. Other countries' information is being released through this. Well, that must have taken a lot of permission. That must have taken a lot of meetings and a lot of time. No doubt that was the delay between March and now. You're releasing stuff from Japan. You probably needed their permission.
Well, the other thing, too, is if you go look at the videos are highly suspicious that they released because the majority of videos actually happened in the war zones of the Middle East. Mm-hmm. They're not over American skies. They're not over North America. Majority of videos were taken in places like Syria and Yemen and Iraq, Iran, and in those areas. There were a couple from Europe and a couple from the United States. But what is it with these alleged UFOs and war zones? That's pretty interesting. That makes me think, that it's not UFO, that it could be some sort of American technology that people on the ground or filming this would not know of because it's secretive. So it does open up the idea that we are looking at more maybe American technology that is unknown to certain people in the intelligence agencies and within the military. Who knows? It could be a little bit of everything. Now, my favorite part of this release, and I read this on my show, if people want to go and check this out, you could read it for yourself, and that is NASA. NASA has been finally been a little bit of a punching bag that they deserve to be on this topic, including the fact that during Apollo 11, with Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin stepping onto the moon, they saw things that were unexplainable, including a craft that seemed to change shape, and everybody saw something different. So, for instance, Michael Collins, he saw a cylinder that seemed to be hollow in the middle. Neil Armstrong saw something that looked like rings. Buzz Aldrin said that same craft looked like the letter L that was lit up. And Armstrong actually made the example of saying that it may have looked like when you open a suitcase. The old school suitcases, they opened up like the shape of a letter L.
Right.
What is this about? So after all these decades of them being asked, and Buzz Aldrin, an American hero, being asked whether or not they saw things, and they've been in denial for 50-plus years on this, now we're learning that actually they did see something in space. Gene Cernan on Apollo 17 had lights in the sky following the craft, and that everything from Gemini to Mercury to Apollo to the shuttle programs and even the International Space Station has had interaction or sightings with some sort of UFO craft. Going back to Apollo 11, Collins even believed he felt like their ship got bumped, their LEM got bumped. And then he says, well, maybe it was my imagination. But he recalled being bumped.
Right.
So they did experience something.
If you were to sum up what the Apollo astronauts saw on the moon, what would you say is the consensus of what they saw?
I think when they landed, they saw something blue that did not make sense. I think they saw what they called the best way I could put it is, if you watched a few years ago the Chinese rover that landed on the moon, one of the first pictures it took was of this square object way off in the distance. And I believe that they saw something like that. And when they turned and looked again, it was gone. I think they were being watched. It gives me more credence to what I have heard from whistleblowers from NASA who believe that on the security line, the secure line, the emergency line, that Armstrong did say they are here, they are on the hill, and they are watching us, or something along those lines. And I believe that they did see something. And, Neil Armstrong, you and I have talked about this before, where prior to going to the moon, Neil Armstrong was apparently a joker. He was very much a guy who laughed a lot and who was, very faithful in not only his job, but with his religion as well. And when he came back, he was very sullen, cranky. He didn't want the spotlight anymore. That tells me, and it confirms to me, in reading between the lines, that he saw something that upset him. And that's why he kind of went quiet afterwards. Well,
Either it upset him or he wanted to share it and was told he couldn't. I'm not as quick to blame NASA as you are. It's possible that the people at NASA were told, you tell them to shut up. It may not have been a NASA decision.
You're correct on that. It may not have been a NASA decision, but the fact that almost every astronaut has had some sort of encounter with a UFO-type craft when their rockets have gone up, I think we need to investigate NASA a lot more fully.
Oh, I totally agree with that. And I believe what's going to happen now is the melting of NDAs. As these announcements come out, as these situations are revealed, pieces that have been seen of people who have had to sign NDAs, well, yeah, I knew about that, I didn't know about this, but it invalidates those NDAs, in my opinion. It invalidates those NDAs. You saw that, oh, I saw this, and all of a sudden, they're getting tacit permission because of the revelations to talk about things they signed that said they would never discuss. The NDAs are going to melt away. And at the same time, as more information comes out, and this is part of the reason I believe it's coming out slowly, gee, you and I are going to have more questions. And we're not going to wait 6 months for the answer. We want to know now. And we're going to be joined by thousands and then millions of North Americans who will say, well, what about this and what about this? And more information is going to not only have to be revealed, but have to be revealed faster.
Well, we are supposed to either this week or next week get the 46 videos that Anna Paulina Luna had requested from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. So if we can get those, my big question is, how long will the American public stand for this topic or support this topic if we keep getting grainy images from a 1950s television set type of camera work?
The video is funny.
Showing dots.
The video, yeah, they're showing the dots. The video is funny. Why is it that all United States government surveillance video looks like 8mm movies from 1950? Didn't anybody get these people iPhones? Don't they have the video off of iPhones? Dave Scott, host of Spaced Out Radio. How do we find you online?
You can always find me at spacedoutradio.com. I my channel on YouTube is Spaced Out Radio. I'd love it if you hit subscribe and rang that bell. And, of course, you can always find us and download us for free on every major podcast network. The only thing that I ask for in return is hit follow or hit subscribe. It really helps me out.
Dave Scott, Red Apple Audio Networks, The Other Side of Midnight with Walter Sterling and you at 800-848-9222.
Roger Stone here. Your dollars are losing ground, but gold isn't. American Sovereign Bullion helps you protect your wealth through real, tangible assets. Through their nationwide wholesaler network, you get some of the best pricing on gold and silver delivered straight to your door. Since 1912, the U.S. dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to prove its strength. So call 844-272-2428. That's 844-272-2428. Or visit dyingdollar.com to request your free gold and silver guide. That's dyingdollar.com.